Right, Ross, thank you for joining us. You sit here today as Interim Head Coach of Leighton Orient Football Club. How do you feel?
It's a surreal feeling, if I'm brutally honest. It's obviously in the circumstances that don't want to say that I'm having to take the opportunity, but the circumstances in which this has come around are circumstances that first and foremost nobody envisaged, but at the same time that nobody wants to step into to become interim head coach at a football club in these circumstances is incredibly sad, incredibly tough. Obviously, a club that's extremely close to my heart, and following the roller coaster ride that we went through last season, I'm obviously privileged to be stepping into the opportunity to be able to try to help to take the club through what's going to be a very, very difficult period. But to do it in the circumstances that I'm doing so is extremely tough right now.
And it would be wrong to forget Justin and particularly the role that he played at this football club. What are your memories of him as a person?
It could go on for a very long time. No one will ever forget him. I think he's made an impression selfishly on me and my family that no one that I've ever met has managed to do so. To have known someone for 18 months, and he's made it feel like sort of 18 years, if you like. It's vitally important that everything that we do at this football club, whether that's me as interim coach, whether that's a new manager in time to come, whether that's new players, and whatever we go on to achieve and go on to this season, it's vitally important that Justin remains a pivotal part of that. I know from the get-togethers and the conversations that I've had with the players, that's already at the forefront of their memories. We've all got incredible amount of hurdles to get over this season. Whether it's just day to day or the emotions that are going to go out when we come up against our first individual moments of whatever they might be across the season. But I know that Justin will be the primary focus and the thing that really pushes us on throughout the season and beyond, obviously.
And what you obviously spent 18 months working with Justin.
Yeah.
What will you have taken from him that you can use now you start your managerial career?
If I can take a small piece of it, you'd like to think that the club will continue to be successful. I think the way that he embraced being a manager was such an amazing thing for me. I think there's so many people that think there's a particular way to behave as a manager of a football club, that you can't get particularly close to the players, that you have to manage the way that you are with your staff. I think Justin sort of ripped that copybook up and threw that out the window when he came here. Obviously, he didn't have an experience of what he did before, but the relationships that he built with people, the way that he got the best out of people by doing that in a unique way, becoming close to people, embracing people's families, lending an ear when he needed to lend it, being that big personality, and being the forefront of the jokes and the banter, if you like, that went on day to day. Something that as a manager will always live with me, because I think that he went about it in a unique way and in the Justin way, if you like. I think and not just from the football and the playing and management staff, it was what he did across the board. I think if you come across Justin in any way other than just shaking his hand and saying hello, he left a huge mark on you with his personality, because he just embraced everyone. And I think what he's done incredibly well was, this has always been a family football club. It took a massive step towards being even more of a family club once Nigel and Kent took over the club 2 years ago. But what Justin did was took that onto another level, because he embraced everybody's family and really brought that collectiveness to the football club as a whole.
And we also announced that Danny Webb will take the interim assistant coach role, and Joe McAnuff will step up as an interim player coach. How pleased are you to have those two working alongside you in your coaching team?
It was everything that we all wanted, because none of us wanted this to happen. But it was, once the decision was made for us to step in our interim roles, it was vitally important that we can try to continue what's been put in place at this football club. And I think with Danny and I built up a good working relationship when we first sort of come together, and the club was brought back to how we know it now. And then when Justin came, I think everyone could see that there was that real togetherness, and we enjoyed coming to work every day. Winning helped, but ultimately we had a fantastic working relationship every day in terms of the way that we structured training, the way that the atmosphere at the training ground and around the group, the way that we developed that was a great feeling to come to work in that environment every day between Danny and I. With Jobs, it's everybody sees what an important part he plays out on the pitch, but he has such an impact on the group as captain. But he also, I suppose, being the age he is and the stage of the career that he is and the experience that he's had, he's certainly going to be a massive help for Danny and I taking up the new role that he's going to be taking up. But I think Joby's already been a massive part of that, and almost like a staff member in the changing room already this season because of the way that he imposes himself on the group. And I think you would have seen when we played Brackley away last year, which was a very tough period for us, that at the end of the game it was Joby that galvanised the group and got everybody together, staff and players, and had that real impact on trying to raise everybody to kick on and take us where it took us to. So Joby's had that huge impact already, and I think the biggest thing for me, and again trying to continue Justin's memory, is that we spoke to all the players at the end of last season and outlined where we felt they could improve or develop, or if those particular players were going to be moving on. We had individual meetings with all of those, and the major thing for us has been that in Joby's meeting at the end of the season, the gaffer outlined that he, at some stage when Joby made that decision, that he felt that he would certainly become one of the members of staff. That with Justin, wherever Justin would be, first and foremost, hopefully that he would have been continuing at Leyton Orient, but at the same time, he felt that there would come a day when Joby would make that step into his staff, and I think the decision that's being made by the club to include Joby in that now is the perfect way to, again, another reflection on exactly what Justin would have wanted.
Obviously, you step up in a team that won the National League title last year, and minus the Macaulay bond, it's added a Connor Wilkinson and a Josh Wright. How pleased are you with those two coming into the building? Delighted.
I think first of all, again, with what. How we looked at our recruitment at the end of the season, these two players that were at the forefront of all of our minds, and I include Justin in that. Obviously, it's apparent to once you watch and see Josh's interview once he joined the club, it's quite clear the relationship and the uniqueness of the what he had with Justin. So I think that's a massive signing for us on a number of levels. I think he comes into this club knowing the club. I think he comes into the club knowing Justin and having the same feeling that a lot of people at this club are going to have. So I think Josh will find his way into the group comfortably like that. And then let's not take away from the fact that we're getting a very, very good footballer, a player with good experience for a player of his age, and a player that's played at a very, very good, good level and achieved at all those levels in terms of the performances that he's put in, the goals he's scored, and the impact that he's had at the clubs he's had. So delighted with that signing of Josh on many different fronts. Same with Connor. Connor was a player that we looked at earlier in the season, sort of December, January time, obviously off the back of when we played Dagenham. But whenever we're looking to try to be prepared to improve the group, Connor was one of those players that we felt made a real impact. I know, talking to a number of the players that we've got in our squad, that he was a player that give them a real hard time. He's got a huge amount of quality. I think looking away from the emotion of what everybody's going and gone through at the club in recent times, it will also be a refreshing opportunity to bring someone new into the group. Albeit he's a signing that Justin was very keen on, it will also bring a new fresh face into the group to help everybody try to progress and not move on, but to go to that next stage that we all need to go to, and having new and fresh faces around the group, somebody to replace the fact that Mac has moved on. We feel that Connor's going to help us on all of those fronts.
And just finally, obviously you started your career over the road at the Score Centre, in the Centre of Excellence. How proud are you going to be be leading the team out the first game of the season in August? Yeah,
I'm incredibly proud as a whole, and I don't want anybody to feel as though that I'm not. It's an incredible, again, another fantastic feeling for me. I think last time I stepped into the interim role when Steve Davis left, the club was in a real different situation. We were, it was quite desperate times for us, and a very tough time for the club as a whole. But I am incredibly proud. I've held a number of jobs at this football club now that in every single one of them I've loved being in that in those roles. Obviously, having stepped away from the club for sort of 8 or 9 years, felt that I've developed myself and developed my experiences. I think the biggest thing and the biggest message that I want to put across to everybody is that I will do everything that I can to help move the club in the direction that we all want it to continue to go in. I'm here to sit in this role for as long as I need to sit in the role to allow the club the time and the opportunity to get through this period in the best way that we can. And if that means that it's a very, very short period of time, then so be it. That's what I'm here to do, is to help in the interim basis along with Danny and Joby, and hopefully lead all of those people into the next level that we want to go on to. But like I say, I'm here to help the football side of things get through what is going to be the toughest period of all of our careers. And I would just like to say that if we can continue to galvanise the club in the way that we have done in the last year to 18 months since Justin came, and including the 2 years as a whole since Nigel and Kent bought the club, we can stick together. We can fight and have all of those fighting spirits that Justin instilled in all of us to try to make sure that we come out of this period at least smiling in the manner that he would have wanted us to.